All right, guys. So, who is actually going for this hero's path? I mean, it is absurd how expensive this is if you're going for the cat's gaze. Now, I guess it's a little bit more reasonable if you're going for the Cheshire Cat. I mean, it's 101,000 points for the cat's gaze alone, but the Cheshire Cat, I mean, it's basically 104,000 points. Is a steal, right? I think it's kind of crazy how they put the avatars so far behind all the points. But either way, the Cheshire Cat and the more importantly, probably the cat's gaze is what you're actually going for. I can't imagine a world where you'd pick this up and you wouldn't also get this avatar. But either way, you're going to have to go down this left side and pick up this key, down this right side and pick up this key, and then down the middle to get the cat's gaze. Now, if you do all of that, you're going to be looking at 101,000 points, somewhere around there. Actually, we might as well throw in 104,000 because you're going to get the Cheshire Cat avatar as well, right? Don't say you're not. It's pretty cool. So divide that. No, are we going to divide that? No, we're not going to divide. Oh, yeah, we are going to divide that because every single mention that I've seen so far of this event is just going straight to Sacred Shards, dividing it by the Sacred Shards points and saying, okay, we're going to need 23 Sacred Shards. So 104,000 divided by 20, or divided by 4,500. I can't click apparently. Is 23. Well, 23 Sacred Shards, that is absurd. There's no reason to spend that many shards unless you have just a massive stockpile of shards because there's an entire other portion of this event that's so much better. And you can make this work, guys, with probably less resources than you would think. Now, I'm going to talk about, is it actually worth it? And then we'll get into the numbers. I got a big spreadsheet made, probably had a little too much time on my hands, but if you take this a step further and say an average Sacred Shard price is $20, we'll do it a discount at $15, you're looking at $345. $345 for Cat's Gaze is not good. Now, of course, back to the avatar, maybe that's worth it. But $345 is not good. However, PLARIUM has a solution. They have a animated bundle, pretty cool design here, but that's 675 points per dollar. And if you're going for 104,000 points, divide that by 675, well, you're getting a steal of a deal for $154 down from that 345. Now, I did some math earlier, which this was around the 151,000 points, because if you're going for the Cat's Gaze, maybe you want to pick up a soul. For me, I'm planning to go for a soul plus the Cat's Gaze. The soul is going to cost me 67.5 thousand, but a good portion of that is going to be required for the Cat's Gaze anyways. So in total, to pick up the soul plus the Cat's Gaze and the, I guess let's just say both avatars. So 3, 6, actually no, we're not going to do that. Say I'm being strict, just do the avatar plus the Cat's Gaze. I'll probably sneak in the avatars though. So sorry, the soul plus the Cat's Gaze. So that's going to be 151,000 points. So 151,000 points directly converted to Sacred Shards, you'd be looking at 33. This is way too many Sacreds. Do not do this. I would not recommend it. There's just no reason to spend that much. And I mean, even if you were to convert this to Void Shards, it's still really bad. Primal Shards, everything is bad as far as a direct conversion to Shards. But when you look at the champion training points, it's not nearly as bad. 201 Voids, it is easy to say this event not worth it. But before saying that, let's take a step further and dive into the champion training side of this to see how it actually breaks out. And then actually at the end, I'll go over if it's worth it and my plans. So when it comes to the champion training portion, I have this champion training calculator right here, and we can see the breakdown in normal champion training events. So typically, a champion training tournament is going to give you 8 points for a 6-star champion, 6 points for a 5-star champion. I'm going to save you guys the time of doing the math. This event is basically 2.25 times higher points versus a typical champion training. So, really quick math off the top. If you do 151,000 points divided by 2.25, if you were to do a champion training tournament for this, you would be looking at 67,000 champion training points put up just for a one-to-one, okay? 67,000 points will turn into the 151,000 hero coins for this event. So if you could do this in champion training, you can do that here and still be good. Now that is a lot of points, but remember, we can pad this with some shards along the way. So 67,000 points. Now, I personally want to convert all this stuff over to energy because energy is easier for me to understand than the points from champions, the points from shards, the points mixing and matching. I just want everything to be converted over into energy. So how I'm going to do that is I have this champion training calculator that I did a while back. I'll leave this link down below, as well as my plans for this event as well, link down below if you want to check it out. Just make a copy of this page, go file, make a copy, and then get it running for you. But if I was to go for 30,000 points in a normal champion training tournament, that would be the equivalent in this tournament of, let's see, 30,204 times 2.25 is going to be 67,000 points. Queen of Hearts is going to be that 67,000 points like I talked about before. So that's only if you're going for the soul. But for the sake of keeping this, I guess, consistent, let's double this stuff because I'm going for the cat's gaze as well. So instead of 96, let's say 180. 180, actually, how many points would I need here? Let's go ahead and get this number correct just so it looks a little bit better for you guys. 2.25 is going to be 128. How many points do I actually need? 151 divided by 2.25, 67,000. So we'll just change this number here. This number, basically, you guys can look at this and hopefully understand it, but it's talking about how many rank 3 champions you would need. This is a lot of rank 3 champions. I don't recommend doing this straight up doing this, but you can do something kind of similar. So I'm looking for 67,000, right? 67,000 points. So let's see, 210 maybe? Yeah, 215. So 215. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because this is going to show us how much energy we need. And this is the most important thing to me. So all this stuff, I'm not going to do 800, almost 900 rank 3 champions. It's not realistic. I'm going to do a mix of this, but this gives me a baseline to actually go off of. So if I'm going to need 30,000 points to get this many points in a normal champion training event, I know now that I'm going to need about, let's call it 31,000 energy in order to get the Queen of Hearts plus the Cat's Gaze. Now, if you're just going for the Queen of Hearts, cut this energy in half and you're going to have your number. So if I come over to the Path event, what I've done is I went ahead and took the souls, the shards, not the souls, the shards. I'm going to move myself so you guys can actually see this. I took the shards and broke them down into what would be the energy equivalent. So we know that the shards are, 4,500 for a sacred, 750 for a void, primals have a value. So energy per shard makes this easier for me to understand. So what we have going on here is my plan at the bottom. Up here at the top, brews, one brew is about 5.78 energy. Points per energy is going to be about 4.92. The way I got this, maybe getting into the weeds a little bit here, but the way I got this was by taking this 151,000 number. We're going to have 151,000 points total. If we have 30,000 energy spent in this because of this, we're going to do 151 000 divided by 31,000. It's going to be 4.87. The closer number, the more accurate number is of 4.92, but that's going to be the points per energy you spend. That's where these numbers down here at the bottom are coming from. Now, as far as the shard types, I'm not going to get into the math behind that because I'll probably just over-explain it. You guys can probably figure it out yourself. Take the points from the shard, divided by 4.92, and you're good to go. Actually, I think I just explained it right there. 4,500 divided by 4.92 is at 914 number. Pretty simple stuff. So now everything is energy. Everything's converted to energy, and I can just say, okay, my plan for this event to go ahead and get the Cat's Gaze plus the Queen of Hearts is going to be 300 runs in Brutal 12-3, ideally taking up efficient champions, which look back on this champion training calculator, and you can see, okay, for a 2-star champion, we're going to take them to level 7, which is 1 brew, or a run of 12-3. For 3-star champions, 1 brew. For 1-star champions, it's also 1 brew. 4 stars is going to be 3 brews, and you guys can get the idea from here, right? So we're going to be as efficient with our brews and energy as possible, which, by the way, I do have a breakdown on how much energy about per brew. Now, if you look down here in the brew section, it's going to be a little bit different per champion with 1 brew. This box right here is brew level points for first brew. So obviously, the rank 1s are not great, but it's an easy place to dump brews into. The higher the ranks, you're going to dump more brews into there. So however you want to distribute your brews, you can figure out what's best for you and go from there. I personally am going to do 3,000 brews. A lot of it is going to be from ideally 4-star champions. So on this account, I put a lot of 5-star champions in the vault. On my old account, I did the exact same thing. I put a ton of 5-star champions in the vault. So 5-star level 1 champions, because I can drop brews into them very easily. So you guys can see how many is in this account currently, and it should be a lot. So I have many rows of just 5-star champions ready for these type of events. Probably not going to do too many of them here, though. I may even just make more of these champions. But I have plenty of brews here, but I'm only going to need to spend 3,000. 3,000 is a lot for some people, but guess what? If you don't want to spend 3,000, adjust it to 1,000 and change up the numbers you're going for. It's very adjustable and customizable to how you actually want to do it. Now, for the ancients, this is actually 30 ancients, though. So this is the breakdown with the brews. This is the breakdown with shards, converting it to energy. Now, how this is going to translate into points for me is the following. So brutal, I'm going to do 300 runs to go ahead and finish out my monthly quest because I have about 300 runs to finish out. This is the best time to do it. I don't do too much campaign anyways. So we're going to finish that out from brutal campaign. Brews, I plan to spend about 3,000. It may be a little bit higher, maybe a little bit lower. Maybe tomorrow I wake up and get a sacred shard from Clan Boss, and there we go. It's going to be a little bit different. I may open that sacred shard during that event. Now for void shards, I plan to open 10. I don't want to go too crazy. I want to save my resources. That's going to be equivalent of 1,500, essentially, basically energy. Mystery shards, I'm going to do 1,000. I need some champions to dump brews into. I'm going to do the mystery shard trick of just summon, escape, summon, escape, summon, escape, summon, escape, feed a bunch of champions, and then open another 100. It'll take probably less than 10 minutes to actually do that. Not a problem whatsoever. Pick up an easy 610 points, plus the points that I drop from each champion from the brews, basically. Each one, first brew is 18 points. Times that by 18, it's going to be 18,000 hero coins, which divides by that 4.92 number, it's going to be that 3,000 energy, which is going to be working towards that brews energy expenditure, basically. So for the mystery shards from there, I'm going to do 10 primal shards, so stay tuned for the video. There'll be a video of 10 primals, some ancients as well. I do want to pick up some of these champions during this boosted rates, but I'm not going to go too hard. I really don't want to extend myself too far, and I also want to save some brews, though I'm actually debating on just going full in brews. I'll have to see. There's a lot of brews here. There's a whole lot of brews, so I could do that and not touch the shards at all, but I'm going to start with the less expensive shards and then possibly do the voids, ancients, and primals. I do want to save my primals for boosted rates, so I'm going to pull these last if I end up pulling them. May wait for a possible sacred, but I'm going to pick up the Queen of Hearts first and then go for the Cat's Gaze because I want to get her a 5-star soul. So my plans for this event are the following, and it's going to leave a difference of 16,000 points, which is going to be 3,000 energy just hanging out. Now 3,000 energy, if I was to convert this to brews, 3337 divided by 5.78 is about 577 brews. For this account, not very much. For your account, that may be a lot. But we do have some other things going on. If you just want to pick up some minor points, you could always do some soloing dungeon content. We have the Dragon Turn Attack going on. Pick up some resources here. Take your Nishak, take your Theodore, take whatever champion you're soloing Dragon with. Pick up some rewards here. Maybe try for first place, first through third. You can get some points for leveling your champions. Not going to be the most efficient, but you can make some progress towards that. So when it comes to the cost for this event, I mean, these resources are saved up. Your account's going to look far different than mine. Maybe you don't have as many brews, but you have far more ancients. Well, plug your ancients in here. They're not worth a ton per 10 pull. Like each 10 pull is going to be worth 610, which is equivalent to 1,000 mystery shards. So it's not going to be a significant value. You can see all the energy things right here, but it is going to help you out with getting you closer. I mean, one sacred is 914. That is a lot of energy equivalent. This would be great. I have no sacreds though, and Clan Boss is being pretty greedy for some reason. So I'm not going to be doing that, but I will do the other things. Like I said, I may just decide to go all brews. I just don't want to get too wasteful with them and just start spamming them everywhere. Plus, I did see MTG Jedi open up some crazy mythicals today, so I feel like Primals has a secret boosted rate. But either way, guys, that is the breakdown. Now let's talk about, is this event actually worth it? So the Queen of Hearts is a very good champion. I used her in a live arena video a few days ago, and I'm a big fan of her. Now with supports specifically like her, a 5-star soul is massive. The 5-star soul is going to give us extra 75 accuracy, which she needs accuracy, so that's quite huge, honestly. And it's also going to give some resistance, which I don't care so much about, but it's also going to give another boost to the actual effect. Now, if I was to put Lightning Cage on her, that's going to be a 75% chance to protect a random buff from being stolen. I mean, Stone Skin or possibly the Intercept from being stolen. Or if you have Feral on her, it could stop that from being stolen as well. You could pick up something like Temporal Chains to help manipulate the enemy's turn meter even more. She's getting extra turns, decreasing their turn meter by 5% for each active buff. You do have to be careful with Marius, though, because he'll start counterattacking and doing some weird things. So worth considering there. Oh, I had the 6-star at least. 6-star does that. The 5-star just decreases their speed for each buff, which is still very impactful. So temporal chains, polymorph 5-star, maybe even brimstone if you're going to go for like Amius or some PvE type content. So there's a lot of souls very, very valuable for the queen. So I think it's very much worth it. If you have her, I doubt you won't use her. So you'll probably fit her in somewhere, and have 5-star soul makes it that much easier to fit them in. For me, I wouldn't mind eventually getting a 6-star soul, purchasing it from the shop. 300 essence. When I save it up a year from now, purchasing it from the shop won't be a big deal for me. Now, as far as the Knave of Hearts soul, I don't think that's as worth it. I think it could be good. It's a decent soul. I personally wouldn't extend myself too heavily for that. But I mean, if you're right here going for the cat's gaze, then yeah, I mean, go ahead and pick it up. It's 50,000 points, which is a lot, but it's far cheaper to get it here than to spend all the soul stones and possibly get it in the future. 5-star is very impactful, especially in a champion who can be built with accuracy, should be built with accuracy, and can place brimstone on bosses, can deal with Amius. So it's justifiable. Definitely can make sense to pick up his soul. For me, it's not so valuable that I'm going to go for it, but it could be worth it depending on your account. And Lightning Cage could possibly be good as well. Maybe you could do better in Hydras and Mischief Tank and stuff. But as far as the cat's gaze in the middle, this for most players, I mean, it's an incredible relic. This relic is very significant for your damage dealers. It's going to make your damage dealers hit much harder. We don't know how long this is going to be around to be able to be picked up. So if you're able to get it, I definitely recommend getting it. But it is very expensive as well. If you can put yourself in a situation to get this with the champion training, some shards, and you can pick this up over the next almost 4 days, so 3 days and 15 hours, I think you won't regret doing that. However, if you're going to go for everything, I would definitely, personally, I would prioritize the Queen of Hearts soul over the Cat's Gaze, and the Cat's Gaze for me over the Knave of Hearts soul. But if you only have Knave, I'd still probably prioritize the soul over the Cat's Gaze. So this is very expensive for one, but if you break it down, because there's so many options as far as picking up points, you can get this done with the saved resources you have and still have shards for future events. I can finish this with just brews and mystery shards. But it's going to take a while and it would use a lot of brews, but I could do that. And I may actually do that. Because how often are you able to pick up a 5-star soul, a top tier relic for brews and mystery shards? So before you just dismiss this event, guys, take a closer look, see where you can get your points, see how much time you are willing to allot to this, and then make the decision from there. Don't look at it as, okay, this is going to cost me 200 void shards, 33 sacreds. That is ridiculous. I'm not doing it. That is ridiculous. Don't do it. But take a step further, look a little different, and you can see that maybe this is actually very worth it for you. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are down below. It is expensive. Don't get me wrong. It is expensive. But as far as the price for what you're getting, I don't think it's that bad, honestly. I think it's a pretty good event, especially for the soul. The Cat's Gaze is a little bit more questionable, though. But this avatar, maybe that avatar is worth it. Either way, guys, that's enough jokes for the day. Thank y'all very much for watching. Best of luck in your shard pulls if you go for those. And guys, I'll catch you in the next one.